It's not even live. Oh, now we're live. Welcome to the 7 o'clock talk. It's Gracie's birthday, so we are all getting in the car and getting ready to go to the birthday dinner. But we have a special guest tonight who we're going to talk about her case again, and we'll let her do some fill in. But Jess will give you some of the background on this, which she's given before, but I think this is the first time that she's actually come out and joined us.
Yeah, she's
For
been
any
for
event.
like a year. She's been hiding, but she doesn't want to talk and tell her story. So you've heard us talk about my mama and how sick she was. We tongue in cheek say she was 2 feet in the grave and falling with her fingernails, but it was kind of true.
Gracie, you're going to have to let Granny get in there. So
gotta go around the other way. Grace has got to be in the middle. Anyway, so she was going to her family doctor, who referred her to an oncologist, a cardiologist, a rheumatologist, a neurologist. But her oncologist was
every other yes, there is
GI doctor.
We're talking about you, Granny.
Taking her off of her food. Anyway, she got down to 70 some pounds, very frail, tiny. And then they checked her out, and nobody could find anything. So they just kept passing the buck, really. And then last test they did was a SIBO test, and then she was all excited because she thought she was going to get better by going in and killing off all the bacteria in her gut with antibiotics.
Put it on you that way.
And then let's see if Mama's back there. Where you at, Mama? Say hi, Mama.
Hello.
Anyway, I had a fit about the killing off with the bacteria with antibiotics. So we did a GI map and omics test on her, which found that she actually not necessarily had overgrowth, but she didn't have a lot of her commensal bacteria. She was kind of low. And the bacteria that they thought she had overgrowth on, actually she didn't. But anyway, we started her very softly with just nutrition.
And why?
Because she's too frail, and if we did too much to her, we'd make her sick.
And what are the background? What are the co-committant? What are our...
Tell her.
So we're also dealing with an autoimmune disease called lupus. We're also dealing with severe GI disorders. And as you've heard us talk about, everything begins in the gut, especially when you start to talk about food sensitivities and you're talking about allergies and any of that stuff. That all begins in the gut, because once you lose that tolerance, that secretory IgA tolerance, then anything can get through. It can get into the bloodstream and create all kinds of havoc. So we had to start very, very simply. And to be honest, we didn't know how much Granny actually trusted us. So we couldn't go through a big killing phase right at the beginning. And we just started simply. And Granny, how was the bone broth and starting with the powder? How'd you do on that?
I done real good. It made me stronger.
And she started to gain a little weight.
Well, yeah, so she used to so she's actually been really good for about 12 months, because for probably the 12 months prior to that, we were in and out of the emergency rooms with UTIs and blood pressure issues and chronic diarrhea, and we haven't had, that I know of, any infections this year, or any that we've required to go to the hospital for. So
and that's all because I'm an awesome cook. I can make a mean bone broth.
That's right. So so everybody, we like to share about what we've done with her. And we really just started her off on bone broth. Every day she would drink homemade bone broth that Trevor would make, and we would scavenge for bones, and we would make this for her. And then we started her on a phytomulti, and then we added back all the vegetables and fruits that they had taken from her. And then we sent, what was the next thing we added? The GI Revive, like a...
Hold on, time out. Where do we want to go for Mexican tonight? She said she doesn't care. So
Mama, what's your favorite?
Whatever, Gracie.
She already threw her hands up.
Mexican? Tell me which Mexican.
I like, if I'm going to eat any,
up here on 46, El Napol.
Sweet.
So we added powders. So we gave her in May. So May was her birthday. We gave her a smoothie. And we keep her in fruits, vegetables, and these powders. So since May, so this is October, so that's 4 months. She's been doing smoothies, bone broth, her phytomultis, and a good probiotic powder. And then we started her about a month ago on pregnenolone and DHEA to help with the hormones and her cortisol. So she, make a really long story shorter, she went to her oncologist, who was probably one of the only doctors that actually found value in nutrition. And she had, her blood work looked the best it ever had. Everything was in normal range for medical labs.
What did he tell you, Granny?
Except for her kidney function, but still trending up, which they told her would never trend back up again. So anyway,
he said it looked better lots better than it did 3 months ago, and he was very pleased on the progress that was made.
And you're not taking any medications or extra medications, right?
No.
And that's actually really great because she has lupus, and they usually throw her prednisone and everything. And she did have that, but she doesn't take that, and she doesn't take her PPIs, and her blood counts go up. And the reason for that is because she's actually digesting her food by herself and absorbing those nutrients. So she went from 72 pounds. She hovers between 83 and 85 pounds. So that's 10-pound gain in about 6 months, although she really needs to gain about 30 more.
I'd give it to her, but she just doesn't want it.
And she's also doing physical therapy. So she is doing really good. And we haven't done anything as far as killing off anything. That is just strictly basic nutrition, supplementing with vitamins and a good probiotic.
So it's a slow process, and you can go as fast or slow as you want to, but we don't want to cause like a Herxheimer reaction, a die-off, because Granny having stuff coming out both ends would end well, and that would make her yell at her chest, and then ultimately I would get yelled at.
But anyway, that's the story, Mama, and everybody is doing good. And if we could just get her to gain weight, we can get her out.
Yep. Well, and I think that's just a function of how injured the body was, and now it just takes time for that to come back.
So I guess the big picture here is if you're being bounced around from your primary care, it seems like you can get all kinds of referrals and you're not getting any progress, and you got a bag of pills and you want to do something different, give us a call.
Well, let's take that a step farther. So that's Granny, and we appreciate her sitting in the back and letting us talk about it. Tell them about your experience.
So I actually am walking through this just because I kind of want to know what our patients are experiencing. So this is funny. So we went to CASI over the weekend, which is
Clinical Application of Scientific Innovation.
And it was on autoimmune, specifically Lyme and long haul COVID and COVID injuries from the vaccine. So my symptoms overlap all of those, but my symptoms are cyclic. So we've done everything that we've done all the testing and everything on ourselves. So I was like, I'm going to be tested for Lyme disease, but I really wanted to experience what an MD would actually do for me. And I went in and with my 80 pages front and back of all the things that we have done for myself. And she knew nothing about what I was talking about and all my therapies and alternative things. However, after an hour, I was asked what I wanted. And when I said, I don't want any of your medications, and named what she probably was going to prescribe, she did not even know what to say. However, I did walk out with referrals to a neurologist, a gastroenterologist, a rheumatologist, an endocrinologist, and an allergist.
And are you going to go to any of those, Mom?
Say no, and then I decided that I think I
how frustrating
it is.
Well, and on that note, we are here, and so we will see you all. The birthday girl's right there. She's born in 2011, tells me she's 10, and we wonder why she has issues with math.
That's not the...
Have a good night.